We were that couple. You know the kind. Trendy house, fun weekend trips, constant dinner parties with our close-knit group of friends. We didn't have kids, but our life felt full. We had people, a squad. And at the center of it all was my wife, Marissa. Marissa was loud, intense, and, how do I say this nicely? The kind of woman who always had to be the main character. If you told a story, she had a better one. If someone had a win, she had a bigger one. She had this way of hijacking every moment and somehow making it about her. But I loved her, or at least I thought I did. Our best friends were Dave and Rachel, married for 7 years. Dave had been my buddy since college. Rachel had been Marissa's best friend since high school. The four of us were inseparable. Barbecues, camping trips, game nights. You get the picture. So when everything started falling apart, it hit everyone. It started subtly. Marissa suddenly needed space. She didn't want to do couple dinners anymore. She started going out with the girls more often, except Rachel wasn't in those pictures she posted. When I asked where she'd been, she'd fly into a rage. You're so controlling. Why can't I just have friends that aren't you? Classic deflection. Then came the phone secrecy, the late-night texts, the accidental, overnight stays at Rachel's place. It felt off. But the real dagger came one night when she left her phone unlocked on the kitchen counter. The name on the screen said Rachel, but the message said, "Last night was insane. I can't believe we did it again. You're driving me crazy." I knew that wasn't from Rachel. It was from Dave. And in that moment, everything I thought I knew about my wife, my marriage, and my best friend shattered. The moment I read that message, I felt like the floor dropped out from under me. Dave, my best friend, the guy who helped me move into this house, the guy who stood next to me at my wedding, the guy I shared beers with while our wives laughed in the other room. And he was the one screwing my wife. I stared at the message for a solid 5 minutes. Read it. Reread it. Let the reality punch me in the chest over and over. She wasn't cheating with some stranger. She was having sex with the one person I trusted more than anyone. I took screenshots, emailed them to myself, and I waited. When she came home that night, drunk, loud, acting like she owned the damn world, I asked, "How's Rachel?" She froze, just for a second, but it was enough. "What do you mean?" "I mean, was she as good at pretending everything's fine as you are?" She rolled her eyes and laughed. "God, you're so insecure. Just because I don't want to have boring sex with you anymore doesn't mean I'm cheating." That hit different. She walked past me like she didn't just drop a grenade in the middle of our living room. That's when I lost it. I saw the message, "Marissa." From Dave. "Don't bother lying." She spun around like a demon possessed. "You went through my phone." No denial. No explanation. Just rage. Screaming. Throwing things. Full meltdown mode. "You're a psycho. You're always trying to control me." She was red in the face, screaming like I had cheated on her. The irony would have been hilarious if I wasn't watching my life implode in real time. That night, she slept in the guest room. Or tried to. She slammed doors, stomped around, made sure I couldn't sleep either. The next morning, she was calm. Almost eerily so. "You're overreacting," she said. "It wasn't serious. It just happened." Right. It just happened. Multiple times. With my best friend. And I knew then, I wasn't just going to divorce her. I was going to make sure she felt what betrayal really tasted like. The morning after the blow-up, she tried to spin it like she had slipped up once, like it was some random, drunken mistake. "It was just one time," she said over coffee, like she was talking about forgetting to pay a bill. I didn't say a word. Just looked her in the eye. "One time?" So the 5 different messages I found from Dave were just poetic journal entries? Her face cracked for half a second. Then the rage returned. "You had no right to go through my phone. That's abuse, by the way." She always did that. Dodge the facts and weaponize the reaction. Accuse her of cheating? You're controlling. Catch her in a lie? You're manipulative. Gaslight 101. That day, I called Rachel. She didn't know. At least, she acted like she didn't. But when I told her, her silence told me everything. "I had a feeling," she whispered. "He's been weird. Distant. And she's been posting pictures lately. Of them." My stomach turned. So she had known something. Maybe not the full truth, but enough to suspect it, and say nothing. I didn't blame her. Not yet. But I told her everything. The texts. The nights. The lies. Rachel was crushed. And furious. And suddenly wanted all the receipts. I sent her everything. She was gone within an hour. Packed a bag. Left Dave a note. and went straight to her sister's place. Meanwhile, I filed for divorce. Marissa still didn't take it seriously. She thought I was bluffing. "You'll come around," she said. "You always do." No, not this time. I wasn't just walking away from the marriage. I was walking away from the whole illusion she built. The fake image. The controlling guilt trips. The constant gaslighting. But before the paperwork hit her desk, I decided something. If she wanted to play dirty, so could I. And I knew exactly who to call. Marissa had a best friend named Tasha. Gorgeous. Smart. Wild. The kind of woman who turned heads without trying, and made Marissa insanely jealous whenever she was around. They were tight, at least on the surface. Brunch every other Sunday. Instagram selfies with fake captions like soul sisters. But I always knew there was friction. Competitive, passive-aggressive, weird tension underneath all the girly BFF stuff. And here's the kicker. Tasha liked me. I'm not just saying that. She flirted constantly, playfully at first, then more boldly once Marissa wasn't around. I never entertained it. I was loyal. Stupidly loyal. Until now. So I called her. Didn't even try to hide it. I said, "I know about Marissa and Dave. I'm done. Just thought you'd like to know." She went quiet, then laughed. Took her long enough to ruin that one. I asked her to grab drinks. She didn't hesitate. We met up the next night. She showed up looking like a revenge fantasy in heels. "So, you're finally free," she said, sipping her wine. "How's it feel?" I didn't answer, because she leaned in, kissed me, and whispered, "Let's give her something to scream about." One thing led to another. Fast. No lies. No fake affection. Just pure, unfiltered sex, driven by betrayal and mutual pettiness. She spent the night. The next morning, I made sure Marissa saw Tasha walk out of the house wearing one of her hoodies. Marissa lost her mind. Screamed. Cursed. Accused me of emotional manipulation. Said I ruined the marriage. That was rich, coming from the woman who literally blew it up with my best friend. "I didn't sleep with your friend out of love," I said. "I did it out of clarity." Her face? Absolutely priceless. And the best part? That was just the beginning. After the Tasha incident, aka the hoodie walk of shame heard around the neighborhood, Marissa went nuclear. She wasn't just angry. She was unhinged. She started calling every mutual friend we had, painting herself as the poor betrayed wife. "He cheated on me with my best friend. After everything I've done for him." That part made me laugh. She'd cheated for months. Lied. Gaslit me. Slept with my best friend. But now she wanted sympathy because I flipped the script on her? Please. But here's the twist. Her tantrum backfired. People didn't side with her like she expected. Our group chat. Yeah, we had a whole group chat of 10 close friends. Lit up. People started asking questions. "Wait, didn't you cheat on him first? Weren't you with Dave?" And then Rachel chimed in. She dropped screenshots. Timeline receipts. Straight up evidence that Marissa and Dave had been sneaking around for nearly half a year. Different weekends. Out-of-town errands. Even a couple's trip where they snuck away while everyone else was sleeping. The silence in that group chat was louder than anything I'd ever heard. 2 hours later, Dave left the chat entirely. The group splintered. People started taking sides. Half ghosted Marissa. A few blocked Dave outright. Others tried to stay neutral, but said they needed space. Marissa started messaging people directly, begging them to stay friends. Said I was manipulating everyone, and that Tasha had always wanted to destroy her. But nobody was buying it anymore. The woman who'd always controlled the narrative had finally lost the plot. I watched from the sidelines as the entire social world she built crumbled around her. Meanwhile, I was cool, calm, focused on my divorce, letting Marcus, my lawyer, handle the legal side while I handled the emotional cleanup. The fallout was glorious, but it wasn't over, because I had one more surprise planned, something Marissa never saw coming. So here's the thing. Before the world exploded, Marissa and I had agreed to host a fancy dinner party for our inner circle. It was supposed to be a big, dress-up, adults-only night at our place. Wine, charcuterie boards, candlelight. She called it our little Friendsgiving. It was scheduled for the Saturday after everything went down, and I didn't cancel it. Marissa thought I did. She assumed after the fallout, after Rachel left Dave, after Tasha and I blew up her ego, I would crawl into a hole and avoid everyone. Nope. I sent out a new invite to the same group. Still on. Dress nice. Come hungry. Bring wine. Most people RSVP'd yes, if only because they wanted to see what the hell was about to happen. Saturday night comes. Everyone shows up dressed to kill. Dave, no show. Rachel showed up in full glam, holding her head high like a damn queen. Tasha, also there, also glowing. She brought 2 bottles of red and a smile Marissa would have murdered her for 6 months ago. And then, right before we sat down, Marissa walked in, wearing all black, like she was attending her own funeral. She looked around the room like a stranger in her own home. Because that's what she was now. She tried to laugh it off, tried to act like she still ran the show. But the vibe? Icy. Nobody kissed her ass. Nobody played into her theatrics. They were polite, but distant. We ate. We drank. And then I stood up for a toast. To clarity, I said. And to finding out who your real friends are, no matter how ugly the truth is. Marissa stared daggers into me. Rachel raised her glass. So did Tasha. Marissa? She stormed out. Didn't even take her coat. The door slammed so hard a wine glass fell off the table. Everyone sat in stunned silence for a second. Then someone muttered, "She's always been dramatic." Laughter broke out. The dinner went on. It was one of the best nights I'd had in years. And as I looked around the table, at the ones who stayed, I realized something. I didn't lose everything. I just lost the parts that weren't real. The Monday after the dinner party, my lawyer sent Marissa the finalized divorce petition. By Tuesday morning, she was outside my house, uninvited, in full meltdown mode, pounding on the door like I owed her an audience. When I opened it, she shoved the papers in my chest. "Are you serious? You're really doing this? After everything we've been through?" I just stared at her, calm, collected. "You mean after you screwed my best friend behind my back? After you lit a match and torched our entire life because you wanted more attention?" She scoffed, like I was being dramatic. "You never fought for me. You let us fall apart." "I didn't let anything fall apart. You jumped ship and then blamed me for the water." She looked like she was about to cry. But instead, she snapped back into hysterical rage. "I'll tell everyone you abused me," she hissed. "Emotionally. That you manipulated me into cheating. People will believe me." And just like that, the mask dropped. She wasn't hurt. She was threatened. She realized she couldn't control the narrative anymore. That the people around us had already seen through her. That I wasn't playing her games. "Try it," I said. "Go ahead and lie. I've got receipts. I've got texts. I've got statements. I'll bury every word you speak in cold, hard truth." She flinched. Then came the crocodile tears. "I don't want to be alone," she whispered. Too late. I shut the door. She stood out there for a while, probably hoping I'd come out and beg her to stay. I didn't. That night, Rachel texted me. "You handled that better than I would have." And Tasha? She sent me a photo of a bottle of champagne with a caption that said, "Let's celebrate your freedom properly this weekend." And yeah, that sounded really good. That Friday, I took Tasha up on her offer. She picked a rooftop lounge downtown, bougie, dimly lit, overpriced cocktails. Her dress looked like it was tailor-made for revenge. We laughed more than I'd laughed in months. Talked about everything. About Marissa's constant lies, about how fake their friendship had been, about how long Tasha had seen the cracks forming. Then came the champagne. "To closure," she said. "To chaos," I added. After the second glass, the flirtation was full-blown. Her hand on my knee, mine on her lower back. The waiter asked if we wanted dessert. She leaned in and said, "I have something sweeter at my place." We didn't even finish our drinks. What happened that night wasn't love. It wasn't healing. It was 2 people, both burned by Marissa's drama, using each other to feel something real again, even if just for the night. And yeah, the sex was amazing. Messy, wild, unapologetic. The next morning, we had coffee like nothing happened. But then, plot twist. While we were eating breakfast, Tasha's phone buzzed. She showed me the message, eyes wide. It was from Dave. "You up?" "You. Up." I felt the anger hit me like a truck. Tasha looked mortified. "He's been texting me ever since Rachel left him. I've ignored it. Swear to God." I believed her. Sort of. But I wasn't about to let that slide. So I texted Dave from my phone. "Hey, she's not. But I am. And I'm with her." Smiley face. He didn't reply. 10 minutes later, Marissa called Tasha. Tasha let it go to voicemail. Then Marissa called me. I answered. "Are you with her?" she snapped. I smiled. "Still wearing your hoodie." Click. And just like that, the emotional grenade detonated. We weren't just tearing apart 2 marriages anymore. Now we were unraveling every twisted lie they'd built their lives around. After the breakfast bombshell, I thought maybe Marissa would finally back off. Nope. She just changed tactics. By Monday morning, she'd launched a full-on smear campaign. She went scorched earth on Facebook, Instagram, even Twitter. Suddenly, she was the tragic heroine of a marriage ruined by my toxic masculinity and emotional neglect. She painted herself as the victim, said I was emotionally abusive, that I cheated first, and that I groomed her best friend. The comment section was a war zone. But here's the thing. Marissa had spent years building a fake, polished social media image. The perfect wife, the alpha female, the girl boss with a golden heart. And now, she was unraveling in real time, online, in front of everyone. Friends started tagging me in her posts with things like, "This you," with screenshots of her texts to Dave. "Didn't she cheat first? Wasn't she the one who tried to blackmail you?" I didn't even need to defend myself. The truth was doing all the work for me. Tasha, for her part, posted nothing. She laid low, stayed out of it. Smart move. But she did send me a screenshot from Marissa's spam account trying to DM her. "Hope you're happy ruining another woman's life. You'll get yours." I laughed. Another woman's life? I texted Tasha. She ruined her own. But behind the scenes, Marissa wasn't just whining. She was scheming. Marcus, my lawyer, called me that afternoon. "She's contesting the divorce now," he said. "Wants alimony. Claims you emotionally destabilized her lifestyle." I burst out laughing. "She destabilized her own damn lifestyle," I said. "I've got bank records, DMs, voice memos. She can try." And that's when Marcus hit me with the best news yet. She's actually on shaky ground. The court's looking at her affair as financial and emotional misconduct. And Dave's wife, Rachel, she's willing to testify. Boom. Marissa wanted war. She got it. And I had receipts, witnesses, and zero mercy left to give. The court date was set for a Thursday morning. Marissa showed up dressed like she was auditioning for a sympathy award. Muted tones, fake tears, and a binder full of exaggerated complaints. I walked in with Marcus and a thumb drive full of facts. And Rachel. Yeah, Rachel came. She'd had enough of Dave's lies and enough of Marissa's manipulation. She walked into that courtroom looking like a damn avenging angel, ready to burn it all down with the truth. Marissa's attorney tried painting her as a woman, emotionally stranded by a neglectful husband. Marcus hit back, hard. Here are the receipts for hotel bookings made with their joint account. Here are the texts exchanged with the petitioner's best friend. Here's audio of a confrontation in which the respondent admits to the affair. Then Rachel took the stand. Calm, cold, precise. She and my husband began having sex in secret months before this divorce filing. They manipulated our entire friend group. She told me she wished I would leave Dave first so she wouldn't look bad. The courtroom was silent. Marissa was turning red, clenching her jaw, bouncing her leg like a toddler on too much sugar. Then her lawyer asked Rachel, "Do you believe the respondent's actions were intentional and malicious?" Rachel didn't flinch. Yes. She told me this was about finally getting what she deserved. She said my marriage was already a casualty of progress. Even the judge raised an eyebrow. When it was over, Marissa stormed out without a word. Didn't wait for the final statements. Didn't even look at me. I walked out calm, controlled, smirking. The judge hadn't ruled yet, but we knew which way the wind was blowing. Outside the courthouse, Rachel patted me on the back and said, "We torched their empire." And we did. What they built on lies was crumbling fast. But the best part? The real fire hadn't even started yet. 3 days after the court hearing, I got a call from an old friend in our circle, Jason. He sounded rattled. "Bro, have you seen the group chat?" "What group chat?" Turns out, there was a private offshoot chat, one that Marissa and Dave had started months ago. It included a handful of our closer mutual friends. Jason had just been added after someone accidentally posted the wrong screenshot in the main group. And what was in that screenshot? Marissa and Dave plotting. Plotting how to spin the cheating. Plotting how to expose me. Plotting how to make Rachel look unstable and Tasha look like a home-wrecking slut. Yeah, that's a quote. Jason sent me everything. The messages were brutal, deceptive, downright sociopathic. Let's leak something about him. Something that makes people question if he's safe. She'll break if we isolate her. I know Rachel. She hates being cut off. Tasha's always been thirsty for him. She's a perfect scapegoat. And my personal favorite? He's too weak to retaliate. He's not like us. Wrong. I posted those screenshots in the main group chat. No caption. No explanation. Just cold, hard evidence. 10 minutes later, my phone exploded. People were furious. Some left the chat entirely. Others went in swinging. This is sociopathic. I can't believe I defended either of you. You two deserve each other. Marissa tried to recover. Sent a 300-word apology about how stress makes people act irrationally and that the messages were taken out of context. Nobody bought it. Dave, silent. Rachel, posted a simple line. I rest my case. And just like that, their credibility, whatever was left of it, was obliterated. I didn't have to argue anymore. The receipts had done their job. And Marissa? She was finally starting to realize what rock bottom looked like. The fallout from the group chat leak hit harder than I expected. By the end of that week, Dave had been placed on leave from his job. Turns out, one of the people in the group chat was also a coworker of his, and HR got a little taste of those screenshots. Apparently, conspiring to emotionally isolate your wife and slandering others online doesn't look great in corporate America. And Marissa? She started spiraling. One minute she was posting yoga selfies with captions about growth after betrayal, and the next she was going on unhinged rants in her Instagram stories, calling people fake friends, claiming she was the real victim, and accusing Tasha of being a slutty opportunist. She even made a TikTok. I wish I was kidding. She sat in her car crying about how everyone turned against her and how the internet is a cruel place when you're just trying to heal. Except the comments weren't sympathetic. They were brutal. You cheated. You lied. Now you cry? Actions have consequences, Queen. Tell us more about how you plotted to destroy your friend's life. But the real kicker? She went broke. She'd been using a second credit card I didn't even know about to fund her little affair getaways, hotels, dinners, lingerie, gifts for Dave. Once the divorce was filed and our accounts were locked, she had nothing to fall back on. Marcus hit me up and said, she's asking for a financial concession in exchange for speeding up the process. Translation: she wanted a check so she could escape the mess she created faster. I said no. She burned it all down, and I wasn't about to hand her a fire extinguisher. Rachel and I talked that night. We'd both come a long way from the wreckage. Do you think they ever thought it would come to this? She asked. No, I said. They thought they were too clever. And now? They were alone, each facing the consequences of their own arrogance. Marissa must have realized the walls were officially closing in, because suddenly, she went on what I now call her apology tour. She started messaging people one by one. Friends, coworkers, even distant acquaintances. Her DMs were full of fake humility. I know I hurt a lot of people, and I'm trying to grow from this. Please don't let one mistake define me. He wasn't perfect either, you know. That last line showed up a lot. She just couldn't help herself. Even in apology, she had to twist the knife. Then she texted me. Yep, after months of chaos, humiliation, and full nuclear war, she had the nerve to text me. I just want to talk. Maybe get closure. I don't recognize who we've become. I ignored it. She followed up an hour later. You don't have to be so cold. I'm still a human being. No response. The next day, a voice note. 2 full minutes of her crying, saying she made mistakes, that she felt abandoned, that Dave used her, that she missed what we had. She even said the words, I was just scared you'd leave me first. That's what this was really about. Control. She needed to be the one to leave, to cheat, to hurt, because being vulnerable, being honest, that wasn't in her DNA. Meanwhile, Dave was a ghost. People said he was couch surfing, maybe living with some friend from college. Rachel filed a restraining order after he showed up drunk at her sister's house one night. So yeah, his alpha days were over too. And me? I was living peacefully. No chaos. No lies. Just silence, space, and control over my own damn life. Tasha and I kept it casual. No messy emotions, no expectations. We were on the same page. 2 people who survived the same storm and didn't need to rush into another one. But there was one last storm brewing. Because the judge's final ruling was about to be delivered, the courtroom was quiet. No drama, no yelling, just the slow tick of the clock and the rustle of papers. Marissa sat 2 rows ahead of me, dressed in another one of her pity party outfits. Soft makeup, hair pulled back, like she wanted the judge to see a reformed woman. Too little, too late. Dave wasn't there. Marcus leaned over and whispered, You ready? I nodded. The judge cleared his throat and read through the final judgment. No alimony. No financial concessions. And because of her misconduct, she was ordered to pay my legal fees. That's right. She cheated, lied, and tried to ruin my name, and ended up writing a check to help cover my court costs. Marissa didn't speak, just sat there staring at the floor like it might crack open and swallow her whole. When it was over, I stood and walked out without looking back. Outside the courthouse, I took a deep breath. The air felt cleaner, lighter. Rachel was waiting there with coffee. She handed me one and smiled. "Free at last," she said. We laughed, not bitterly, just relieved. Tasha texted me that afternoon. Drinks to celebrate? Or something stronger? But I said no. Not because I didn't want to. Because I realized something. I didn't need revenge anymore. I didn't need to prove anything. I didn't need to play the game. I'd already won by walking away with my dignity intact, and by watching them both drown in the mess they created. Marissa's reputation was shot. Dave had vanished from everyone's radar. The friendships they used to manipulate people? Gone. Me? I was already planning a trip out west. Fresh start. New job. A clean break from every shattered piece of my old life. And for the first time in years, I didn't just feel free. I felt whole. 6 months later, I found myself standing on a cliffside trail in Oregon, watching the sun dip below the horizon. I'd taken the trip solo. Just me, a rented cabin, and silence. No group chats. No drama. No angry wife. No backstabbing friend. Just peace. I looked back on everything. The lies, the betrayal, the chaos. And honestly, I didn't feel hate anymore. Not for Marissa. Not even for Dave. I felt nothing. That's how I knew I'd won. The pain was gone. The anger burned out. All that was left was clarity. Marissa tried texting me once more a month ago. A blurry photo of an old photo strip we took in a booth during a weekend trip to Austin. The message said, "I miss us. Just wanted you to know." I didn't reply. I wasn't us anymore. She was a lesson, not a chapter. Rachel? Thriving. She started her own photography business. Took back her life. We still check in now and then. Battle buddies who survived the same war. Tasha and I drifted naturally. No bad blood. No awkward goodbyes. Just two people who helped each other through a dark tunnel and found light on the other side. I tell this story not for pity, but for anyone who's been there. Anyone blindsided by betrayal. Anyone wondering if they'll ever feel normal again. You will. It'll hurt. You'll question everything. You'll spiral. But if you hold on, if you stop trying to fix people who love breaking you, you'll come out stronger. You'll stop bleeding. You'll stop reacting. And one day, you'll wake up in a quiet place and realize the wound is gone. Only the scar remains. And it doesn't hurt anymore.